This episode is with Luke Lamperti. Luke's 21 years old and one of the best up-and-coming American riders and rides for Soudal Quick-Step. If you want to get to know Luke better, this was a fun one because aside from the typical training questions, we talked about the fun stuff he does as well, like cars and dirt bikes, so fun stuff as well. Luke's very well-spoken and a super kind young guy, so I hope you love this one, and I hope it helps kill some training time. As always, if you want more, I wrote an entire textbook to try to put all the information I know into a single guide, and the only place you can get it is at howtobecomeaprocyclist.com. The original book is called How to Become a Pro Cyclist, and that's what started all of this and is why all these episodes are for free and have no ads, because I never imagined that book would become what it has, so this just continues on where that left off. The only thing I'll ever ask of you guys is that if you like these episodes, please leave a review and share it, because that's how it grows and tells me what you like. That's the only thing I'll ever ask. Just if you think this podcast deserves it, I hope you leave a review or share it if you really want to go over and above. That's it. And if you want the book that started all of this, howtobecomeaprocyclist.com is where you can get it. You can check it out, read some reviews, see if it might be interesting. Just if you guys like books, there's an idea for you. That's it. Enjoy Luke Lamperti. So are you in California right now?
I am, yeah. I'm in California, so where I grew up is like an hour north of San Francisco area, Sonoma County. I don't know if you know the area at all, but Napa Valley, where a lot of wine comes from, kind of that area. So I'm back here right now for a little bit, and then I head back this weekend to Spain.
And you live in Girona in Europe, right?
I live in Girona, yeah. When I go back this weekend, I go to Calpe for a team camp, but I live in Girona, yeah.
How long have you been there for?
3 years. I've had a place. A little bit more. Yeah, 3 years around now, I guess, actually. I got a place like 4 years now, maybe? I don't know. From 2021, so November of 2021, so like 3 years.
So when you were with Trinity, you already started going over, because you've been going to Europe since you were a junior, like first year junior, you're already going.
Yeah, I've been going to Europe for a while. Did some trips with USA Cycling when I was 15, 16, and then ended up in Girona when I was on Trinity. So been a little bit now.
Yeah, so you're one of the guys. I mean, you got lucky, whatever, that like the U.S. national program was still good.
Yeah, I was lucky enough that the national team was still kind of going strong when I came to the junior, so it helped me a lot kind of have that pipeline, whereas a lot of the kids now don't really have that pipeline.
Well, it's just hard when you're trying to adapt to Europe because everything is different and crazy, and if you don't have that pipeline to slowly get those stepping stones, it's kind of you just get thrown into the deep end and it's sink or swim on whatever team you're on. No,
for sure. Yeah, definitely.
How did you find it going over to Europe? Like just adapting at the beginning when you first started going over?
Honestly, I mean, I started obviously with going with a group of American kids, which makes it a lot easier, kind of like you were just saying. But I mean, the US and Europe, yeah, it's very different, but it's not that different of a lifestyle. You know, like now that I've been other places in the world, now that I've been to like China and Japan and Taiwan, it's completely different. Whereas now I see the US and Europe pretty similar, actually. For sure, it's a lot different. You're on the other side of the world and the people are different, the culture's different, but I found it pretty easy to fit in and enjoy life. And in the end, you're still doing a lot of the same things with riding and all of that. So it was a pretty seamless process, I would say.
Sure. How much time do you spend in the U.S. now relative to Europe?
I'm probably in the U.S. Actually probably 2 months out of the year total. I normally come back a little bit in the middle of the year for like a few weeks, and then now I'm back normally a month, maybe a bit more around this time of year until team camps again. So.
Okay. And then you're back to training though now in the U.S.
Yeah. So normally I get back to training in the U.S. and super good riding and weather over here. So normally I'm riding and training over here and start kind of the preseason here and then go back to camps and all of that. But back to riding here.
Cool. But you didn't do much. Did you do much of the U.S. racing? Because like you're with Lux as a junior and you're already going over to Europe so much. Did you do much of the U.S. races?
Not a ton, no. I mean, I did quite a bit of, I guess in 2019, my first year junior, I did a fair bit of the U.S. stuff, like Redlands and all of that, but not a ton of it. I've done Tulsa a few times, one of the bigger crits in the U.S., and I've done more of the U.S. crit stuff, but never a lot of the U.S. road racing. I did Valley of the Sun and kind of all of those the top-level junior races in the U.S. when I was younger, but never, I didn't get to do Joe Martin or kind of any of those other U.S. UCI races or bigger stage races that are the the bigger ones in the U.S.
Yeah, sure. You just come back to win the crit national championships every year.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's drive the other guys nuts. Okay. Do you think you'll stay in Girona for your whole career?
Um, when I first moved there, I was thinking, oh, what do I do? Do I go to Girona? I went to Girona and I thought, oh, I'll try it here for a year and then maybe try somewhere else or go to Nice or Andorra and try something different and just see kind of where I like. And then after I had a year in Girona, I felt super settled there. I had my place dialed. I had the same place and everything was in it. I kind of had a home base and I went back and I have my own bed, my own kitchen when I come back from races. And then I was thinking, oh, to be honest, now I don't really want to move my stuff. I like Girona. So in the end, I haven't gone anywhere else to explore it. So it's hard to say if I'll do my whole career, but as of right now, I think yes. I don't think I'll end up moving anywhere else during my career, but it's hard to say. Also, who knows? But as of right now, I don't have a reason to move. So I do really like it in Girona, and it's a good spot.
Sure. And then during the season, because you race so much, how much time, like at one given time, how much time do you actually spend in Girona? Or is it a lot of just like home for a
Yeah,
day, leave to training camp, home for 2 nights,
that's the
leave
tricky
again?
thing is honestly, I do 4 or 5 nights at a time, or sometimes I do a little bit longer, but a lot of it's come back and do 4 nights, 5 nights, or 2 nights even, and head off to another race or whatever. But I will say it's even though maybe if you added up the amount of actual nights in between races you're there or whatever, it's definitely worth it to me. I think it's still nice to have a place where you go back and everything's there and you don't have to unpack your suitcase. Like if you Airbnb stuff or you stay with other people, you always feel like you're living out of your suitcase. Whereas having that home base, you can actually unpack your suitcase and repack your suitcase, or you go back and now I'll go back in January and unpack my suitcase there and whatever, but I have everything there. Everything's already there and it's like home. You know, I could go with nothing and I have enough stuff there to, enough cycling clothes, regular clothes, whatever, but it's just, that sense of home that you have for even those 2 3 days is really nice when you are back. So I think to have it is definitely worth it still.
Yeah, for sure. And it's nice that at least you picked a good spot right off the bat. Because, like you said, as far as just building a home right away, because I know I moved around a bit my first couple of years. And it's like you start to get settled, you start to kind of get a routine. And then it's like packing up and moving everything is
Yeah.
such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, exactly. No, I did get pretty lucky, kind of going to a good spot right off the bat, and I've actually lived in the same apartment, same everything the whole time. So kind of the first apartment I got, I really liked, and haven't moved from there. So it's been kind of got in the routine right away, and had the same place in Girona, and yeah, it's been really good.
How did you, and did anyone help you with finding this place? Or did you just think, like, oh, all the cyclists go to Girona, I'll go there? Or how did you get set up
I
there?
mean, yeah, a lot of guys went to Girona. I'd been to Girona for 2 weeks before in the middle of 2021. I went there for a few weeks and just to go training in between races because my first year I was kind of doing the moving around thing and whatever. And then I really liked it in Girona, so I said, yeah, I think it's a place to get an apartment, whatever, and have a nice home base. And then that winter or later in the season, I started looking for places and asking around and obviously, there's a big cycling community in Girona, so it's pretty. I would say it's an easier place to get contacts to try to find a place, or people know about places more than if you're going to move to the middle of Italy or something. So I think, I mean, it was fairly easy, especially at that time. I think now it's a little bit harder to find places in Girona, but it was fairly easy then to get a place. And I got connected with a real estate lady on WhatsApp and talked to her, and she sent me a few different options and looked at photos and picked one and just committed to it before I saw it in person or anything. And I was like, oh, whatever. I commit to it for a year. If I don't really like it, I'll move after that year once I have Girona a little bit more figured out. But it's hard to figure it out if you're not there. So I said, yeah, I'll take this one and figure it out. And if at the end of the year I don't like it, I'll move to a different one or whatever. And turned out I got lucky and I really like the place and have kept it. So.
That's awesome. Well, because the other thing I don't get, I do understand the perks of living in Andorra, but when you talk to all the guys there, it's like because what we already said, like you travel so much, you're home for only a couple days. It's almost like if you live in Andorra, it's an extra travel day because the drive to the airport is so far that a lot of guys have a place in Girona where they'll just end up spending a day in Girona and then go and finish the travel day the next day going up to Andorra.
Yeah, I mean, it almost is. 100%. I mean, I do think, yeah, obviously with the taxes and everything, I mean, it's a really nice place. I do love Andorra, but obviously with the tax benefits, it's also really beneficial. So I'd say that's obviously the biggest attraction. Whereas like me as an American, it doesn't have any benefit tax wise. So there's no real reason besides the fact I do love the mountains. Like I do feel like Andorra is almost more similar to the U.S. lifestyle where you kind of live more in the middle of nowhere, not around people and kind of in the mountains. I do like that, but the biggest thing that turns me away from Andorra is the travel. Like driving 3 hours to the airport. When I think about it, we'll land from a race in Belgium and we'll get back at, I don't know, 12:30, and we'll be waiting for our suitcases in the airport, and some guys have to drive up to Andorra, and I'm thinking I have a long haul to just get to Girona when it's an hour in my car, but some guys are headed 3 hours up to Andorra, so it's definitely a long ways.
Yeah, sure. Was there any people, like other riders or anyone that sort of helped you in your first couple of years in Europe, like getting settled, like other Americans that had been there for a few years or anything like that?
I mean, I would say with Girona, I had quite a few teammates on Trinity. There was a few Australian guys, a few British guys. There was quite a few guys there in Girona, and we all kind of went at the same time. And then there was a few other American guys who had been there and done it for a little while. But I feel like I wouldn't say there was any like older riders per se, Americans that have been in Girona a long time that I was really close with that really, I guess, showed me around Girona or showed me the way, so to speak. I would say I kind of had more guys my age and we all moved there similar time and got places and kind of just figured it out as we went. But I would say the community is pretty big in Girona and super easy to kind of become a part of. So I'd say mostly just kind of a lot of different people, and you ride with people, and then you know a good restaurant because you're riding out of town and someone says, oh, there's a good restaurant there. I've been there. It was really good. And then that's one restaurant, or I don't know, whatever it is. Or, I mean, I guess I don't know, you need your bike worked on and you ask someone, hey, where's a good mechanic, and stuff goes and stuff changes in Girona, but you just kind of meet people over time being around Girona, or you run into someone and they say, oh yeah, I work on bikes in town, whatever, if you ever need anything, let me know. Or it's always kind of something like that, I feel like, in Girona, where the cycling community is just really small.
Yeah, cool. Do you have any other hobbies, like anything else you do other than bikes?
I do, yeah. I mean, quite a few. When I'm back in the US, I do quite a bit more. I actually spend quite a bit of time working on cars and flipping cars.
I
When I'm
love
in the
this.
US, I buy and sell cheaper cars, basically, and I've always been quite into cars. So I spend quite a bit of time with all of that, and kind of just more in off season, and when I'm here, spending some time doing that, and yeah, kind of all kinds of different stuff. My family has a ranch here, so I spend a lot of time working on the ranch, and yeah, all kinds of, I don't know. I feel like I'm always busy when I'm back here, especially more than Girona, but all kinds of different stuff, whether it's cars or on the ranch or whatever.
How do you have time to do flipping cars? You only have a couple weeks off. Like, how long are these projects taking?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of them I have over time. So I'll normally have four or
So your
five
parents'
cars
ranch
here,
is
and
like a
then
graveyard of
sometimes,
cars.
well, kind in a sense, yeah, I do have. I park them around here, so normally I have four or five, and then do them over time. It's not always the fastest thing, but I mean, sometimes it's I can have them all ready, and then maybe I don't sell them, but I can still meet people to sell them once I'm back training in the afternoon or whatever. So I do it. Most of the actual working on the cars is done in the 2 weeks I'm off, and then once I get back to it, it's more selling than the actual wrenching. But yes, kind of always something, or always another project that keeps me interested and motivated to
That's
do the
awesome.
next thing. And sometimes it's a pain in the ass, but I do love it. So.
Well, tell me about cars then. What's the coolest car project that you've had?
Yeah, I would say most of them. It's funny because people always ask like, "Oh, what's the coolest car? Have you had anything cool?" Most of what I honestly love is like a super shitty Toyota that I can make the most money on. You know, like a Toyota Tacoma truck here in the U.S. are like a super useful car. Like the best cars are always a car that's a tool that someone uses from point A to point B rather than a fun car.
Yeah.
But I have had quite a few cool little Mini Coopers, or right now I have an older, a 1999 BMW 540i that someone put a Dyna tune on, which is a guy down
Yeah.
in Southern California who does Dyna, and yeah, so I've had some fun stuff, or quite a few big trucks that the Europeans always think is something massive. So for sure, I always have something fun. I'm building out a Sprinter van right now, actually,
Of
which
course
is
you
quite a
are.
fun project. But yeah, there's always something different.
That's so cool. My brother was the same. Like my brother loves doing that as well. And then, but this is the other thing the Europeans don't get is in North America, it's like almost no rules as far as what the car. They can have big mud tires on and lift kits and all this kind of stuff. And in Europe, all the cars look the exact same. Like they're all completely
Yeah.
stock. then the Americans and the Canadians don't get it. It's like, well, why do the Germans, like, why are they allowed to drive as fast as they want on the highway? It's like, yeah, because look at our cars. Like, they
Yeah.
fly apart.
Yeah, exactly. No, you can. Yeah, that is the crazy thing is you can kind of mod a car however you want in the US. You can make a big truck even bigger, or you can yeah, put different wheels and exhaust systems and whatever. So definitely is. It's a lot different for sure.
Have you ever spent any time around Tucson, Arizona?
Not really. A little bit, a little tiny bit, but not a lot of time around there. No.
That's where you see like some of the cars there that look like almost like Mad Max cars, where it's like, oh, there's like $30,000 of engine and $5,000 of car.
Yeah.
What's your dream car?
I don't know. It's hard. I don't really have one. The problem is I've always switched so much in my life. Like I'm always switching when I'm driving to so many different things. I don't really have one car where I'm like, oh, that's really my dream car. Because the problem is I'm not very good at keeping cars that long. So I feel like I don't really have a dream car because I switch too much that I don't have something where I'm like, oh, if I had that, I'd be sorted. So it's it's hard to say. But I would at some point like to get like an M3 competition wagon in Europe and bring it to the US only because we don't have them here, and I'm a really big fan of the wagons, or like an RS4 and RS6 wagon. So maybe at some point, but we'll see.
That'd be cool. Do you still ride dirt
Yeah.
bikes at all?
I don't anymore. No, not as much as I wish I could with cycling, but I did for sure. I think I will when I stop racing or get back into it a little bit. I do love it, but I don't spend a lot of time anymore.
Do you ride motocross or hair scrambles? Or like enduro?
I did motocross. So everything I did was motocross, all track stuff. So never really any hair scrambles or much trail riding. Everything was pretty motocross and track based.
Two-stroke or four-stroke? Or what size bikes are you riding?
When I was racing, it was all two strokes because I was riding 65s and then 85s because I was still super young. So I did ride a little bit of four strokes after I was just big enough to ride a 250 at the time, but for sure I was only racing ever two strokes. So always like little 65s and 85s when I was young.
That's awesome. That's so cool. But yeah, you did. The other thing, it's like when you switch to riding a road bike, if you tried to jump on like I would do this when I'd go back to Squamish in the off season, and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ride dirt bikes with my buddies for a little while, and you realize you have no upper body strength anymore, and you're just getting
No.
ragdolled by the thing the whole time. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm useless here. I can't do anything now.
No. You think you're fit from riding a bicycle until you get on a motorcycle, and it's completely different fitness. Like it's not the same thing at all. You know, I can't ride a dirt bike for 30 minutes anymore without being tired.
And it's so funny. It's like when I see my buddies that like all they do is ride dirt bikes back in Canada, and I'd go hang out with them. None of them, if they took their shirt off, none of them look that strong. But when it comes to just like deadlifting the bike out of the mud or something like that,
Yeah.
it's like beer belly strong.
Yeah, no, it is. It's true. Yeah, those guys are all. I mean, a lot of the guys. There's a few guys I grew up riding motocross with that are racing now professionally, and they all ride bicycles. Every single one of those guys train on bicycles that are racing motocross. But it's surprising how strong they are at everything. You know, like they're good on a bicycle, but then also in the gym or deadlifting or just like stupid fitness. You know, if you're doing something, I don't know, whatever, and you want to lift a propane tank or something, they're stupid strong.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah,
Crazy.
lift a propane tank.
Or like, but like something just dumb, you know, like if you just have anything, like you just pick up anything or pick up a couch in your house, you know, they're just silly strong.
Yeah, they're like plumbers or something during the day.
Yeah.
Like construction work.
No, that's very true.
Okay. Man, how is
Yeah.
that? You had an amazing season this past year. How was this last year?
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, it's always hard kind of when you turn pro. I think the hardest thing for me was deciding where I wanted to turn pro at and knowing what environment you think you'll be successful in. And every team has a different way of doing things, but it all kind of gets you to the same point. But which way do you think is the best for you? And kind of trying to pick a team was hard in the sense that I just wasn't really sure where I wanted to end up. And you don't really know until you're in a team. So I feel like you have an idea and you can do camps and you know from people you know maybe who are in the team or whatever, but it's always hard to say where you think you'll be the most successful. And in the end, I went to Quick-Step kind of just on a gut feeling that I thought it was kind of a team that fit me and the rider style like me they've always been successful with. So I went with it, and yeah, I don't think there was a better place for me than to end up with Quick-Step. So I was super happy with my decision there, and instantly I felt pretty at home in the team. And yeah, and then it turned into kind of being successful right away with the team. So it worked out really well to kind of hit the ground running and already be good in Mallorca and Oman, and kind of those beginning of the season races was really nice. Also to know that at the level, not the big classics level, but at the start of the year to already be performing was nice to kind of step right into the level of racing.
Okay. And then so I'll get to that in a second. But then so if you go back to 2023, you had an amazing year there as well. And like a lot of big standout results there. Which was the one where where you got the offer from the World Tour? When did that actually come?
Yeah, I don't remember an exact time where I kind of had where everything kind of came together with offers, but I think it was. I mean, it definitely wasn't the first few wins or results of that season. I think it was after maybe 4 or 5 wins when people started to realize that I was consistently at the higher level of under 22 racing that it came, and then I continued to prove myself and be there and thereabouts and at the front of the races and on the podium or winning, and kind of just consistently always there. That then I had multiple good offers, I would say, but for sure it was in the first half of the season. I think by March or April I had quite a few offers.
Did you say yes to Quick Step as soon as that one came through? Yeah, that's a pretty good offer.
I mean, I didn't, to be honest, right away. I kind of had everything. Like I said, it was a hard decision. So I kind of had everything. Once I had quite a few offers, I kind of sat everything on the table, super old school, and was kind of looking at the positives and negatives and where I wanted to end up. So it took a little bit of time to kind of sit down and think about it and where I really want to end up, and comparing different options. But it didn't take long, because I feel like I always kind of had a gut feeling that Quick-Step was like kind of my dream team, or the team that was fit for me. So I always knew in the back of my head that it was kind of where I wanted to give it a try first.
Okay. Was there anything really specific other than the fact that they like the type of rider you are fits exactly like the type of team that they are? One day races, sprinting.
I mean, I'd been on
distance.
a team camp with them, and instantly I felt that they were like everyone was super friendly, and it was a good environment. I think that they have fun, and it's still not old school, but a lot of the staff have been around forever, and it's very well run and well organized, but it's a lot like a family also. Like everybody cares about each other, and it feels more like a family than a business. Whereas no matter what, of course it's a business, and cycling's a business, and we're employees, but it felt a lot like a family, and everyone was working together. And I think that was a lot of it also, was just the feeling of the team when I went on a camp. Obviously it's hard to know what it's really like until you're in the team, but I think it was that helps me a lot as well.
Where and when was that camp?
I did a camp in the end of 2021 after my first season with Trinity, and
Oh,
in
okay. So a
December I
few
did a
years
camp with
before.
them in Calpe a few years before I signed with the team. I had been on a team camp with them in Calpe as a not a stagiaire, but they take like three or four kids every year to December camp from their Devo team or from other teams, and that way you just get a sense of what the team's like, and they see you a bit and see what you're like, and you just get to interact basically. You're like a stagiaire, but only for a camp. So you're not racing, you're just hanging out for a week or 7 days or whatever it is.
Yeah, sure. How did that come up? Did you have an agent helping you with that, or how did that?
Yeah, it came up through my agent. Andrew McQuaid is my agent, so it came up through him, and he was kind of the connection to the camp there. And I was already in Calpe with Trinity, and then I had the opportunity to go over with them and do 6 more days training with them.
Okay. And then when did you actually sign the contract in 2023?
I think I'd agreed in May time.
Okay.
I think around May I had agreed on my contract, and then signed a few weeks after that, or May abouts, end of May, beginning of June, something like that.
What's
So
been like
pretty early on.
what's been like the like the peak joy of your career so far? Like some guys would say like signing that first World Tour contract with it. I'm not sure if that's going to be your answer, but like it doesn't have to be winning a race, but just like peak stoke or joy or just 10 out of 10. What's a bit
Yeah.
for you? Crit nationals.
Crit Nationals my first year. No, I mean, honestly, moments like that are some of the times I've had the most fun racing, but I think I don't know. Like I could say, I think the Giro last year maybe was something that was towards the peak, but also I think, I mean, it's hard to say. I do think showing up to my first camp and being a part of the team after I had signed and waited to be part of the team, of course, it's kind of feel where you feel like you've made it is when you turn pro, but at the same time, it's also the very start, you know, like it's hard to say, yeah, I felt a lot of joy when I signed with the team and then when I showed up to my first team camp and was getting started, but at the same time, I also kind of felt like that was the start, you know, like you just made it to the start line. So it's, you've made it, but then also when you get in that environment, when you're on the team, then you, all of a sudden you're back at the bottom of the ladder. So it's not really like you've necessarily made it. So I don't know. Peak joy, it's a hard one to say, but for sure, I think I would say it's more winning races than it would have been just signing a contract with Quick-Step.
Sure, but it's also like when you actually sign that contract, and now it's like you said, you're at the beginning again, but you're just that much more like I just signed a contract with one of the best teams in the world. You're that much more motivated. It's like, okay, now let's get to work.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. No, you're definitely. I mean, at that point, yeah, you've made it your job and you've made it pro, so it definitely is different. But it's and you're that much more motivated and excited, and you have that much more support. But it's also you've made it, but made it kind of to the start.
Yeah. Well, okay. So how big is the step up going from, let's say, the races you did in 2023? So aside from Tour of Britain, everything you did in 2023 was point 0.1 and point 0.2 level races, and now you go up to the World Tour. And where I'm going with this is you nailed it right out of the gates in 2024. How big is that step up?
I think it's a big step up, but I think it's less of a step up than the past, maybe. I think now I think under 23s are more and more pro, and the levels higher and higher, and you see a lot more guys performing right away. So for sure, it's a big step up, but I think it's less of a step than maybe it used to be. So it is possible to perform right away. It's not unheard of. A lot of young guys perform right away. So I think when you do turn pro to under 23s, you can believe in yourself to perform right away. Whereas even maybe 5 years ago, guys knew that they had a few years to find their feet and then try to perform maybe your third year or your second year if you were really good. Whereas now under 23s are kind of expected to turn pro because you have a lot of comparisons and you know a lot of guys. All right, this guy was a really good under 23. He turned pro and he was good right away. So you know the levels kind of there. But the races are completely different. It's more professional. Everybody's paid to do a job. Not everyone's trying to win or believes they can win. There's 30 guys maybe trying to win the race, or 20 guys, or one guy from each team, or whatever it is, that are actually trying to win the race, and everybody else is helping them win the race. So it's a lot more professional, and the racing is a lot different in that sense. And then I would say the biggest difference to me is the depth. I think when you go really, really hard in an under 23 race, you look around and there's 20 guys left and you've survived a good group. Sometimes you'll do a 10-minute climb full gas in a pro race and you look around and no one's dropped, you know, maybe a few guys are dropped and you're going, holy shit, what? I thought we just went full gas. So I think that's the biggest thing is everybody has the depth and everybody's at their best and has a really good level. So I think that's the big difference.
Okay. And then what about like the training side or like the support structure that from the team side of it? Because on Trinity, one of the best development teams in the world, going from Trinity to Quick-Step, is there a lot? Did you gain like a lot in the whatever it is, coaching, like support off the bike, that kind of stuff?
I think it's definitely there's a lot more support in Quick-Step. I think they just have a lot more infrastructure, even though the Devo teams are really professional and whatever. At the end of the day, there's a lot more money, I guess, in the pro teams, and they just have a lot more, whether it's coaching or physios or the medical staff or the equipment and equipment testing and mechanics, and everything is just a step above what it is at a Devo level. That you just have a lot more support, a lot more personnel, a lot more people. So there's just a lot more going on. Nutritionists. You can go on and on, but I think there's just a lot more infrastructure in the team that helps you perform better, because even if we had it in Trinity, there's a lot more of it in Quick-Step. Not even to say that they're better, but there's a lot more of it, so they can work with everybody more personally, and you have more support or more one-on-one and more time, and they have more time. And I think that's a massive help.
Sure. Which were the biggest ones specifically? Which were the big ones for you though that you found gave you the biggest boost?
I think honestly, I think for me, I would say the biggest boost, honestly, is when you put on the jersey and you have the pride of wearing a Quick-Step jersey. I think is the biggest thing for me. I would say actually outweighs all of that and the change in coaching or the change in nutrition or anything like that. But as far as the actual support staff goes, I think it's yeah, I don't know what actually. I think the thing is everything is so 1% here, 1% there that I think a little bit from everything. I don't think one thing gives you 5%. I think everything adds up to be a little bit better. You know, you do your training a little bit better because someone manages it a little bit more, and you do nutrition a little bit better because you have someone there who does it a little bit more, and you maybe do a little bit more core and a little bit more stretching because you have a personalized plan from a physio that does a little bit more, or you just do a little bit more of everything, and you do 0.5% more in everything than you do have 2 or 3%. And so I think that's the idea of it, is a little bit of everything and balancing it all rather than it is one thing and then the other things stay the same. I don't think there was one area where I'd say all of a sudden I gained 5% in nutrition or something like that.
Sure. But it's exactly what you said. It's pretty cool when you get all the kit at the beginning of the year. You put the kit on, you see the little UCI World Tour logo and the Wolfpack logo on your jersey.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think that's the biggest thing, especially with Quick-Step and family and everybody on the team, the staff included, have a lot of pride to wear and be a part of the Wolfpack. And I think that honestly, that's a lot of it, is you get the pride of everyone. You know, the staff want the best for the riders and put everything into it, and the riders want the best for the staff, and everybody is always pushing to be better and move forward.
Yeah. And obviously, like when you made it up to that level, obviously you knew you were good enough and you had earned this spot on the World Tour. But in like the first training camps or anything like that, or at the first races, did you ever notice anything that any of the other riders did where it's like this is another level of professionalism, or like how seriously they take it? Did anything ever stand out, like just noticing somebody doing something that was just like that it maybe motivated you to try even harder?
Yeah, I don't remember seeing anyone do one thing that I was like, oh my goodness, like if you like some guy waking up at 5 in the morning and doing 1 hour of core every morning or something. I think is kind of like the answer that you would say, like, oh, these guys are doing this in the World Tour, but I don't think there really is anything necessarily like that I saw right away. But I think everyone is always pushing to be better and happy to be there and wants to do more work or do things right. But also I think making smart decisions, not just saying, oh, let's go ride 8 hours to get better. You know, it's also, there is also guys in the team. I think you have the older guys that have the experience that, like, when a young guy came in, if they said, oh yeah, I'm going to go ride 7 hours full gas, they'd be like, oh, you're stupid. But if a guy like Alice Leap tells a young kid they're stupid for doing that, maybe they'll listen to him and just do 4 hours normal with the team instead of trying to do more. Whereas I think if we were in Trinity and someone said, oh, we're going to do 7 hours, everyone would go, oh, I'll do 7 hours. That's going to make us better, you know, and then everyone would be out there doing 7 hours or whatever. So I think it also just takes someone that everyone respects, or the elder riders in the team to say, who's done it forever, to say, no, guys, that's stupid or whatever, is also the thing that I think makes a difference. Is you have guys that also will say that you're stupid or doing something wrong, or that point out something that does help you. You know, they'll say, like, oh, if you do this like this or do this a little better, it'll help you. And then obviously if a guy like an Alice Leap or someone tells you, you trust him and you believe him because, well, he's done it, and obviously he's done it well, so then you kind of believe him. So I think that's more of it than necessarily one thing where a guy's doing this and you do it, because everyone has a different way of doing things, you know. So you can't really do everything the same as everyone else. Not everybody can do the things the same way to make things better. You know, if one guy keeps his nutrition perfect all winter, some guys don't, and then really get hard on themselves come January or whatever. So everyone has a different way of doing it. So I don't think there's one thing or one way to crack it, basically. There's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, and I think everyone does it a different way, but it's just all how you get there personally and what's best for you.
Yeah, sure. I think Ian Boswell actually said this really well. Like the most motivated, hardest working cyclists in the world are juniors on the best junior development teams. Like exactly what he said. Like, you want to do 7 hours? Okay, we'll do 8 or something. Like, just push. But then what Ian said, which was pretty cool, is like cycling's one of the sports where it actually is possible to work too hard. Like it's more often that guys will just burn out from just pushing way too hard all the time and never being able to just relax and cool it a bit.
Yeah. No, 100%. It definitely is a sport where you can overdo it also. And especially it's easy to overdo it in December, January as an under 23, because in the end we didn't start racing until April. At least as a pro, you start racing the first week of January. So if you're smashing on December camp, okay. But in the end, if you're smashing around December camp and you don't race until April and you're there going full gas every day, and obviously it's competitive and you like to race and you want to have fun, but it can not always be beneficial. You can be hurting yourself. The season is long, but it takes someone with experience to tell you that. When we're all under 23, we all just feed off each other and keep going and going and going. And yeah, we had a great time, but everything, and I don't think it really affects anything, but everything we did, I wouldn't say was always the smartest.
Sure. Who pushes the hardest out of anyone you've been around? Who's the most focused? Who's the hardest worker? Who's the craziest when it comes? And it's meant as a compliment. It's meant as a good thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know who I would say really works the hardest or does the most and is always grinding. I would say actually kind of a guy in the team who I would say does a lot and I have a lot of respect for is Peter Seri, just because he's done it for so long and he really is that focused and does it and is always kind of an example to all the younger guys on the team, because he's been through the different generations of cycling and seen a lot of different guys come through. He's been teammates with me and he's been teammates with guys who are long retired now. So I think it's pretty cool to kind of hear his perspective on racing and training and how he does it.
Is there anything you picked up specifically from him that you've noticed from him?
I wouldn't say anything specifically, but just everything he has done and seen in cycling. I think he just has a lot of experience and has a lot to say and a lot to share with the younger guys, because he has been he's just been around and he's done it and he's open to new ideas. He's not an older guy that just says, "Oh, this is how I did it. This is how I did it a few years ago, and I'm going to continue to do it that way." I think he's open to new ideas and trying new things, and yeah, you see how long he's been one of the best domestiques in the peloton for years and years, and he's one of the most valuable guys in our team today still.
Okay. Okay, I can guess what you'll say for this next question, but I'll ask it anyways. Which is the hardest race you've ever done?
I don't know, actually. The hardest race I've ever done, this would for sure probably be something this last year, but I don't really know what would be the hardest race. I don't know. I feel like the expected answer you were thinking would be Giro, but I actually don't know if it would be like we had one day of Giro where we rode where we had like 5,000 meters. Okay, it's maybe one of the harder days on the bike I ever had, but in the end, I don't know if the Giro as a whole would be the hardest race I've ever done. I feel like I've been in a one day in Belgium hacking around for 5 hours and it's felt like longer than 3 weeks, like for sure. The Giro was really hard day after day and it was really hard, but I feel like I've suffered more. There has to be a one day somewhere that I've suffered more in Belgium.
No one's heard of.
Yeah, some race no one's heard of that I've hacked around in Belgium all day and suffered way more the whole day and felt like it took more years off my life than the Giro did. So I think trying to come up with, I don't know. Yeah, something like that. Or you do one of those like French one days no one's ever heard of and you'll suffer more than you've ever suffered in your life from the start to the finish. But I mean, yeah, I think the simple answer would be the Giro for sure. We had hard days of the Giro and it's a grind and it's 3 weeks. But actually with the environment we had this last year there and we were successful as a team and everyone was going well, I would actually say it was one of the more enjoyable races I've ever done, rather than maybe the hardest. For sure it's hard, but because we were enjoying it so much, I think it was mentally quite easy to get through.
When did you find out you're doing the Giro? When did they tell you that's on the program?
2 or 3 weeks before, I guess. Kind of when we finished the classics, it came into the question maybe 4 or 5 weeks before, and then it was up in the air a little bit, but it was an idea. And then I think, yeah, basically I knew for sure 3 or 4 weeks before they said, yeah, for sure now we'll stop the classics, take a small break and train towards the Giro. So that's kind of when I found out for sure.
You didn't have much time to prepare for the Giro though, did you? Like what was
No, I didn't have much time to prepare, but I stayed, that's when I was kind of the longest in Girona before, is they gave me like 3 weeks. I took a little bit of time, 4 or 5 days off after the classics and then prepared kind of into the Giro, just in Girona and training well, and I didn't race for a little while or travel. So I had, I think, 2-3 weeks in Girona just preparing for the Giro and just being at home, not traveling before. So I think that's when I knew for sure is when they said, all right, now we're going to take a few races out of the calendar, but you'll do Giro and just stay in Girona and focus and do the simple things right and get ready.
Okay. Do you have any good stories from the Giro?
Um, I mean, I think we have a lot of good stories with Tim winning kind of right off the bat, kind of set the tone and was super nice to kind of keep the morale going. But we have a lot of funny stories from the bus or whatever. I mean, you make a lot of memories over 3 weeks and everyone gets tired by the end, but I don't really have one standout story. I mean, the day Alaphilippe won, I think was pretty special to see him win and the way he did it also. I mean, that whole day, our director was actually yelling in the radio. He went away with one other guy when he went away with Maestri. They still had 130K to go, and there was a group of 15 guys, I think 10 or 15 seconds behind him, and the director was yelling, Lulu, you need to calm down. You need to stop. You need to stop. There's a group 10 seconds behind. And I think eventually the car finally made it up to him, and he said, just calm down. I'm going to keep going. It's fine. Like, basically, he just said he wanted to go for it. And yeah, he basically just said he wanted to go for it, and they never caught him in. So it was quite a big story because we also thought he was crazy. He was like, just keep it together. 50K, and I want there to be no breakaway, and I'm going to go here, and it was still 150K to go or something. And he said, I'm going to attack here, and we'll go, and we'll get away with a small group, and it'll get smaller and smaller, and that's how we're going to win this stage. And just to see a guy like that actually execute and be a part of it was pretty special.
That's pretty cool to see it from like the big champions. Just be like, hey, calm down. I got this. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Also I mean, when you're two guys, like we also race bikes every single day, and I would have said he was crazy. You know, there's a group behind 10 or 15 guys, and he's up the road with one other guy at Pulte, and he said, no, we're going to continue. I would never continue. You know, I would stop and wait for the group. I would never keep riding, but in the end, it worked for him. So it shows that, yeah, a guy like him knows what he's doing.
That's amazing. How broken were you at the end of the Giro? This was not like, I'm amazed you did not say this is the hardest race. This looked brutal to watch.
Yeah, honestly, I was less broken than I thought I would be. Like, I thought for sure I was going to end the Giro and I was going to need some time off and whatever, and I was going to be completely broken. And the team actually were super good about it and gave me quite a bit of time off after because it's my first Grand Tour and they didn't know how I was going to get through whatever. But in the end, I actually wish I would have raced like the week after or something. I think I had a lot of fitness then that I came back to the US and took some time off and relaxed and trained again for the rest of the season. And I think I actually wasted maybe my best form of the years after a week or two after the Giro. I think I was maybe going the best I ever was the whole year. I came out of it pretty good and I was healthy through the Giro. And I think I actually, in the end, would have been the best I was the whole season a few weeks after. And I didn't race for a month and a half or something after the Giro because I took some time and chilled out. So I think, I mean, you never know until you do a Grand Tour. Maybe I do another one next year and then I come out of it completely broken. But I think because I had a pretty clean run and it was good, that I came out of it and I was actually flying. So for sure I suffered, but I didn't really feel broken by the end. Like I wasn't counting the days at the end going, oh man, I'm on my hands and knees here just really suffering around. I felt like I was still going quite well. Like I felt the same after 8 or 10 days. I felt the same through the rest and I still felt good at the end. I mean, not like I was fresh by any means. I was for sure tired, but I think if I would have taken a week easy and started racing again, I think I'd have been in good shape.
I think that's how it is for a lot of guys now. Like a lot of guys come out of Grand Tours going well because the training is so good, the recovery is so good, the nutrition is perfect. Like you guys don't come out of the Grand Tours as broken anymore. They just get faster and faster and faster.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it was Harry Sweeney was telling me this because I asked him like, "Hey man, does the step up in racing keep getting like?" So there's a huge, insane step up between 2019 to 2021, let's say. And I was asking him, "Is like, does it still keep getting faster and faster every year? As much of a step like that?" And he's like, "Man, it's every race now. It's like the Vuelta is faster than the Tour because the guys that came out of the Tour are flying even more for the Vuelta now."
Yeah, no, I think 100%. It just gets faster and faster, and guys can do more. Like I think I came out of the Giro and you would say my first Grand Tour as a Neopro, whatever, I thought I would also come out broken. You know, I was planning on just being broken after and needing some time or whatever. And so the team were good about that and planned it in. But in the end, I think I should have continued racing. I think, like I said, I think I would have been flying. You don't know before and whatever, but I came out maybe the best I came out. I mean, for sure you need some days rest, but after 4 or 5 days, I think I would have been really good again. So it's hard to say, but I do think with the nutrition and yeah, I mean the care you have from the team during it. Actually, it's like doing a training camp, but everything is taken care of for you. You have massage every single day. You have perfect food. You have perfect everything. Everything is planned for you to be optimal. So it's almost better than maybe when you're uh, just at home training on your own full gas for 3 weeks because you're also doing everything on your own and doing more to not everything's perfect. You know, maybe you go out for dinner one night with some friends or whatever because you're home, or your rest day you don't, your day in between a 3 day block you don't sleep as much, whatever. So I think you do everything so optimally that you're sleeping perfect, everything is good. If you don't get sick and you have a clean run, I think you actually, it's like the best 3 week training block you can do of your life because everything's taken care of and you do everything perfect, and all you're thinking about every step you make during those 3 weeks is to try to make yourself the best as possible and as fresh as possible, and you try to do as little as possible and rest as much as possible. So you're thinking about everything so much that I think you actually come out, that's why you come out the best that you can if you have a clean run.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever organized like your own training camp to go anywhere?
I haven't. I mean, I'm lucky enough to live in really good places to train. So where I grew up here is probably my favorite place in the world to train, in Sonoma County in California, and then Girona is also amazing training. So in the end, I never really need to go anywhere for good weather. I always have good weather, and then we do training camps with the team and altitude camps with the team. So in the end, I don't really need to go anywhere. So I haven't really ever planned training camps or said, oh, I'm going to go here for 2 weeks or whatever and do training because I always have good weather. And I would say that's the main reason to go somewhere. And then I travel enough that I don't really need to change up my scenery. And I like having that home feeling and either being at my place in Girona or being here when I'm here. So I don't really go a lot of other places to train, to be honest.
Okay. What if I told you you're doing the tour this year and you got 6 weeks before it to do whatever you want, team budget, whatever you want? You got 6 weeks. Where'd you go? The tour.
For sure, you'd be on an altitude camp with the team or racing. But if you had the freedom, I think, I think I would do altitude somewhere. But I even, for convenience wise and everything, I think I would probably drive up to Andorra from Girona because it's just the easiest to have a car. There's people up there to ride with. There's good training. If the weather gets shit, you can drive straight back down to Girona and back home in Girona in a few hours, and you can keep training. So I think it's just the simplest, the easiest way.
Yeah, sure. Have you ever done any altitude training in the US?
I haven't. No, I've never been a big altitude guy. I've never really done a lot of altitudes. I've never really done altitude in the U.S. 4 hours from me is Tahoe. I've spent some time up there, but I've never gone and done 3 weeks of proper altitude. I've gone up there for a week or 2 weeks because I have family up there, but never have I done a proper camp where I've said, oh, I'm going to go to Utah or Colorado and do a proper altitude camp here in the U.S.
Okay. Because a lot of people talk about how they think altitude training is better in the US. A lot of the Euros say this, I think, because they just want to experience North America. And then a couple of Americans say, like I know Quinn Simmons, he loves living in Silver City to go train there. And I get the idea as far as you can, okay, Silver City, you can do a 5 hour ride above 2,000 meters the whole day, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But the biggest difference is the fact that if you do an altitude camp in North America, the difference between going from 2,000 meters to 500 meters is like going in and out of Colorado. It's not something you can do in a day. Versus in Europe, it's going up and down some like 20-kilometer beautiful stretch of road. So you can change the altitude so easy. Versus if you do an altitude camp somewhere in the US, you're pretty much stuck at altitude the whole time. You're there.
Yeah. No, you definitely are. It's a lot different. I mean, like I said, you can go straight down from Andorra. You can ride down from Andorra and be pretty close to sea level in a 40-minute ride. So it can be, you can get on and off the mountain super easy, whereas you go somewhere that's in altitude in the U.S. I mean, for me to go to Tahoe from here, you go up almost the whole way. It's a 4 hour drive, and that's the closest place to get to a few thousand meters. So it's not up and down a 20K road or whatever, like you said, you know. But I think it's also, for the Europeans, it's something different if they come to the U.S. and do altitude here. I mean, for sure, at some point, I'm sure I'll do altitude here in the U.S. or also in Europe in different places. But in the end, it's all one half dozen the other. I think altitude's altitude. So if you're at 2,000 meters here in the U.S., I don't think the air is any different for altitude. It just depends on where you like riding or where you want to be to do it.
Yeah, cool. Where's the best place you've been for a training camp, like with the team?
I don't know. I think, honestly, I really like Calpe for a few weeks where we go in winter. It is really nice, but I think for a few weeks, I could never live there. My favorite riding in the entire world, like I said earlier, is here in Sonoma County. I think also because it's home and I grew up training here, I don't get to it as much anymore. But from where I live, I can go 360 directions and have climbs or flats or anything. It's a bit like Girona. You can go 360 direction and have a little bit of everything. So I think they're actually pretty similar, and it's some of my favorite riding in the world. So I think as far as camps where I've been, I haven't been a lot of other places besides Calpe and Mallorca. But I think here in Sonoma County is probably my favorite place to train and do a camp.
Okay. And then again, like you started off this season like amazing right off the gate. Do you look back on this season at all? And was there anything that you did wrong or that you'd want to change looking back on this last year?
I think for sure I made some small mistakes along the way, but nothing massive. I had a pretty clean run of the season, and for sure I would have done a few things different if I could really change everything. Like I said, is use the form after Giro bit more wise. But if I were to do it, if I were to rewind before, I would make the same decision. So everything I made decisions on before, when I made the decisions, I think I did everything pretty good, and the team were really good in helping me make the right decision. So it's, I mean, yeah, you can look back in hindsight, and if you could change things after, for sure there's things you change or schedule changes or whatever, but nothing that I would have really changed before that I said like, oh, I was between these two decisions and I really chose the wrong one here, or I was between this, and for sure I made the wrong decision. But I think everything went pretty smooth for my first year, to be honest. So there's not a lot I would change.
Is there going to be anything that you change going into next year? Like the prep any different for next season?
Not yeah, not a ton. There's not a whole lot I would change. I think it's about doing the simple things right and kind of continue those simple things like I did last year, and you make improvements with the racing, and now I have more experience and another year in the legs and everything. So I think it 100% is just doing the simple things.
Okay. How about if you go back like a few years then? Like we were saying before, like when you're under 23 and one guy says he wants to do 7 hours and the next guy says, oh, okay, I'm gonna do 7.5. Was there anything that you focused on, like the wrong things to focus on in years past?
I think I was always pretty good at enjoying it. I think that's the biggest thing when you're in under 23 is just to really enjoy it as much as you can. I mean, even still now that I'm pro to enjoy it, and for sure it's a job, and some days you don't want to go out 5 hours in the rain, but I think you really do need to enjoy it as an under 23. And maybe I would say if I go back to a junior, I think take it less serious. I think you take it so serious as a junior, and in the end you look back now and did it really change anything? I mean, yes, everything adds up, but in the end, no, it probably didn't change a whole lot. So I think really being having more fun maybe even as a junior. I feel like I was pretty good at it, but you see some guys who were definitely too focused as a junior, and I think I would say I enjoyed it, so I wouldn't really change that much. I don't think I could have enjoyed it much more, but without going too far in the enjoyment direction and not as serious. So, but I think that's the one thing that I would say is really important.
Do you look back on your junior years and be like, man, that guy was like super focused. Like that's
I
crazy.
see some people who are definitely way too focused, and guys who were definitely too focused then that either burnt out or whatever. And in the end, if you look back at it, yeah, it didn't really make a difference if you were a little bit better, a little bit worse. I think it was better to enjoy it at that time than it was to go crazy with all the small things.
Can you think of any of like the specific small things that where guys were just ridiculous?
I think it's just diet and training and not being willing to change training and being super specific about your weight and being super specific about training and doing it exactly. And if you do everything perfect for so long, you can only do it so long, or over obsessing with it. I think you have to be less obsessive with it and just kind of go with the flow and enjoy it and enjoy the racing, and it kind of is what it is. But it's easier said than done, no matter what.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's definitely something to be said for as far as pushing it out to the extremes, like way too far to know where to dial it back a bit. Like I asked basically the same question to Tom Squinch, and he was just like, yeah, well, we had like the Devo team was training with us at a training camp. And Stephen DeYoung also said this as well, because like they're at the same camp. They're like, we see these development guys, they're weighing their salad at the food. It's like, guys, you're weighing your tomatoes at this point. Like, this is not going to make a difference.
Yeah, exactly. yeah, stuff like that. So
Okay.
there's a time and a place for it, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you do calorie counter, like weigh your food all throughout the year?
I don't do a lot of it. I'm more of a kind of go by feel guy, and I stay a pretty steady weight, and I weigh myself here and there, but I'm not super big about weighing my food. I go more off of feel. And I think it's something I could improve on. And now with the science, I think I could maybe weigh a bit more. But to be honest, especially at home, I never do. Sometimes at the races I do, but I don't do a lot of weighing
Okay.
of food or carbs or anything. If anything, I do more counting carbs racing, but that's about it. And even
Okay.
then, I go more off of feel, and I don't necessarily always count exactly.
Okay. How about supplements? Do you use any supplements?
A little bit, not a lot. I've never been a big supplements guy before. I would say that's one thing I kind of did a little bit more once I had advice on it through Quick-Step. Is before I didn't really know what to take and when to take it, so I didn't really do a lot of supplements. Whereas now we have advice on it, so for sure I do a little bit more, but still not a ton of supplements. I'm definitely not a guy pulling out I don't know 15 different supplements out of my suitcase and need them all the time. I definitely I'm phases kind of on and off with the supplements. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, and yeah, a
What are
bit
the
all over the
commons?
shop.
Yeah, sure.
I actually tried creatine a little bit last year for a little bit, but I was kind of in and out of it. And then beta alanine a little bit here and there, and kind of yeah, like I said, I'm all over with it. So I don't really do. I probably should do it more consistently. To be honest, it's something that I could improve in is actually having a good supplement plan for the classics and then taking a break or towards the Giro last year, or whatever. But I'm less good about it. I'm not good about taking stuff every day or every morning and night because I'm not used to it. I never really have, and so I don't really take anything. So I'll forget and then not do it and do it, and then I'll get into it for a week and be really consistent and then forget for a few days. So I'm kind of all over with the supplements.
I get it. Did you notice a difference from any of it?
Not really, to be honest. Not a big noticeable difference. I do think they help, and I do think it's good to take some stuff, but I don't think it's. I didn't take it, and then a week later say, "Oh my goodness, I'm flying now."
Yeah, sure. No, I understand that. Okay, how about this? What, like, just talking about stuff other than cycling, what are the like three things that you think about the most? You spend the most time thinking about?
Well, I think, I mean, for sure, yeah, cycling would be the number one. But outside of cycling, I do think cars, I don't know, investments, and then spending time with friends and having fun. But I think that would be probably my three things. The next
Okay.
thing to have fun, and yeah,
Okay, but going back to like cars, so like really, if I gave you an unlimited budget, any car in the world, like Hennessy Venom GT, something out of John Hennessy's shop, something that, come on, that sounds like what you'd be into. No?
yeah, a little bit. Honestly, though, I'm more like I said, I'm more into buying a car for $1,000 and trying to sell it for 3 or 4 grand than I am that stuff. But for sure, I mean, I am into nice cars and stuff like that. But it's not like I'm after one car with unlimited money type of a thing. So
It
yeah,
doesn't have
I
to
don't
be
know.
unlimited money, but just like American muscle, something with like rear wheel drive V8 engine and 1,000 horsepower, just something ridiculous. That's not cool
Something
for you?
ridiculous, yeah. Super American. It
Yeah,
would be funny to
exactly.
bring something like that, super American, to Europe and just have something
You'd be
super
deported.
American. Yeah,
You'd be
yeah,
deported.
yeah. 100%. No, 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 I wouldn't be.
It's really funny. I have so many of my friends, and I mean this only as a compliment, but I know people are going to take it the wrong way. I have so many of my friends that live in Munich, and it's like there's three questions, and if I know the answer to two of them, I can guess the third. Like, oh, you're from Munich, you drive a BMW, you must have an S-Works. You have an S-Works, you live in Munich, you must drive a BMW.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly, huh? They all go together.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what about investments? And what do you think about with this?
I don't know, all kinds of. I mean, I've never been big into stocks, but everything has kind of been buying and selling stuff for me to do it. But I'm pretty into real estate as well, and so kind of trying to figure out real estate and all that type of stuff. I do like as well. So.
How do you learn this stuff? Who do you learn this from?
I mean, a little bit through my parents, but also just meeting people and talking to people. And when you ride bikes, you spend a lot of time meeting people and talking to people while riding. So I think I've met a lot of people through just riding bikes and just yeah, just talking to people and listening and learning through listening more than I have through school or listening to podcasts while riding or stuff like that. So all kinds of I don't know, feel like a lot of different ways.
Okay. What if I told you it's like, okay, Luke, you've been too focused for a little while now. We need to have some fun. Here's 10 grand. You got to go spend it on fun. You can't be smart with the money. What are you going to spend 10,000 euros on for fun? You're going to dump it into a car, I know, but
A dirt bike, for sure, a dirt bike.
yeah.
I think a lot more fun than bicycles. I think I would still for sure put 10 grand into a dirt bike or a motorcycle of some sort. If I had to spend 10 grand just burning a hole in my pocket, for sure it'd be a motorcycle.
KTM, Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, Suzuki. Tell me when I hit it. Where
KTM probably.
my man.
Mostly KTM stuff now. But if I'm gonna resell it, a Honda for sure. But probably KTM if I have money burning a hole in my pocket. If I want to spend a lot of money on it and have it keep burning money, then it's KTM. Work on it a lot.
354 stroke.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, like a current 350 four-stroke SX would probably be probably what I'd get.
You're cooler than me. I have only trail bikes, but yeah, 354 stroke. That's the one.
Yeah,
450, I don't have nearly the skill for this to get thrown
yeah.
in
If I don't have the
midstream.
fitness anymore, it's too heavy thing. I can't wrestle a thing around.
What about a snow bike?
I've never rode one. I've always been interested in them, but I've never rode one. I have a few buddies who have them up in Tahoe, and they've always said, "Oh, I'll come and ride them, whatever." I've never rode one, so I have no idea what they're like. But I know you have to spend a lot of money on them, so they're not cheap.
No.
You buy your 350, and then you spend another 10 grand to make it a snow bike.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the funny thing is, at least with dirt bikes, as I said, like 10 grand for a dirt bike, you can get a really nice Honda or something like that.
Yeah,
for
you can
10
get a really
grand.
nice. Yeah, yeah, cheaper than bicycles.
Exactly. That was my point. The bicycle doesn't come with an engine.
No, cheaper than bicycles. Dirt bikes are still cheaper than bicycles. It's true. Not street bikes, but dirt bikes are cheaper than bicycles for sure.
Yeah, but street bikes, I mean, okay, you can still get like a nice, like a YZ or like an R1, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, you can get something. Yeah, you could get like a Kawasaki Ninja or something. But yeah, not that I'm a big street bike guy anyway. I'd rather get a dirt bike. So
Yeah, I don't think I'd live very long if I got a street bike. Have you
for
ever
sure
seen
not.
have you seen the ones that Bling has? The really nice Ducatis?
I haven't
Bling
seen
Matthews
that.
has? He has some
No,
really cool
no.
ones. Bling
Oh, awesome.
Matthews has really cool Ducatis in Monaco.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
like when you see the
Huh.
Monaco plate on, it's like, oh, that looks awesome, man.
Yeah. No, that's sweet. That's awesome.
Cool.
Very cool.
Okay. What about, well, you raced Gravel World in 2023, right?
I did. Yeah. I did Gravel Worlds in 22 and 23.
What's that like? 5,000 people starting all at once?
To be honest, Gravel World is a bit like a classic. It's a lot of World Tour guys. Most of the top 20 guys are World Tour guys, so it's a lot like a World Tour classic, but on gravel bikes, and it's just full gas the whole day. So instead of being controlled and having teams, it's just a full gas sufferfest for 6 hours. Also, probably one of the hardest races I've ever done. That might be the answer to the hardest race I've ever done.
Really? Gravel Worlds
Yeah.
2023.
It's just a classic with a bunch of World Tour guys, but imagine you just go full gas all day instead of it being controlled at all. Like you never have time to stop for a piss or anything. It's just full gas the whole day.
That's cool. I like that answer. But the thing I couldn't understand is like when I was watching it this year, is because it seemed like everybody in the world. I felt like I was the only cyclist that was not at this race for the Gravel Worlds this year, where it's like 5,000 people starting. I'm like, this doesn't even look like fun. Like if you're starting
Yeah.
like 500th from the start, you are never seeing the front of this race.
No.
How do
No,
they
no,
do
no,
it?
For sure not.
How do they organize to
The
get?
pro race I think was 300 guys, and then they do it off of gravel UCI ranking. Then they take half your points from cyclocross or road or mountain bike, and then they do it all off of UCI ranking for the start.
Okay.
So like if you're like Tim Murley on our team, he is starting on the front row because he has even half of his points from road are enough to start on the front row. But then I think I was like 30th or something on the start
I
grid.
see.
So it's all based off of a point system.
Okay.
UCI points.
All right. That makes more sense then. I figured that was something like that.
So there is a system to the madness, but still, if you start 200th, you're never going to see the front.
Yeah, really. Huh. Okay. When did you get a new coach this year when you moved up to Quick-Step?
I did, yes. Yeah, I switched to a guy named Wim de Wolf. He was actually new to the team this last year, Belgian coach. So
Okay.
really good.
Did you learn anything new from him? Like, did anything with your training change?
I mean, it changes how you do efforts and everything changes, but it's all, most coaches are a different way to get to the same point. There's a lot of different ways to climb the ladder, and I think it's just a different way to do it. For sure, it's different, but in the same, it's not like anything. All of a sudden, I didn't do 6 hours, and before I'd never done 6 hours or nothing drastically.
Okay. How many hours a week roughly do you train? Like, okay, not when you're racing and stuff, but in a normal training week, what is the weekly volume like?
I don't know, 20 maybe, between 20 and 25 during the winter or something like that, depending.
Okay. So then what are the 3 workouts you do the most? Like most common throughout the year?
Endurance rides, just a normal endurance ride with no efforts. Now I'm trying to do a lot of high cadence stuff, work on my cadence, and then something with, I feel like I do quite a bit of full gas efforts as well, but shorter but full gas. So maybe I'll do, I don't know, an endurance ride with sprints, then I guess would be the other probably most common. just a few sprints. But I don't know. I feel like they actually change it up quite a bit. I don't really have three. I feel like the fact that I can't name three of the most common, I don't do that much of the same.
Okay. Well, what do you do for high cadence work then?
Just like 5-10 minute blocks of high cadence, literally just riding high cadence, but in 5-10 minute blocks of over like trying to ride 110 or more.
Okay. So just ride 110 RPM for 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if I can. For me, I do really low cadence. I'm a really low average cadence guy. So for me, it's quite hard to ride 110 to 120 for 10 minutes even. So just kind of that overcompensating and riding, even just trying to average 90 RPMs in a ride for me.
Okay. I like that. I had to do the exact same thing because that's my problem as well. And for me, that was the one thing that solved like I never have cramping in races anymore. Like I used to get like just cramping in races, and I always thought it was the heat. All I did was change this, and it solved all my problems
Yeah,
for me there. But
yeah, yeah.
a
A
lesson
lot
that
less
took,
load.
yeah, well, it just took a many 2 years to learn that lesson.
Yeah, no, there you go.
Awesome. What about is breathing training a thing?
I don't do a lot of it. No, I know a lot of guys who do and have different methods, and I think that's more of a rider to rider thing. Some guys believe in it, some guys don't. So I think it's a rider to rider, very rider based.
Is it using any sort of device, or like how do the guys actually do it?
um, a device, or guys, you can just do it like the Wim Hof breathing and just lay on the ground and do breathing every morning or whatever it is. I think there's a lot of different ways to do it, and that's also a rider to rider is how you want to do it. Do you want to get a breathing device like a simple one, or they have those ones that you can connect to your phone, or all kinds of different ways. So I think it just depends. You can get an oxygen mask, I think, and just restrict your breathing more and do breathing, or ride hard until you breathe hard.
You should do that. Okay. Has like anybody ever like told like been like such a preacher for this, and has anyone ever raved about how great it is?
I've never had anyone really rave about it or say it's a big change, but I think for sure guys do it.
Okay. Crumbs. We were talking about before, like you took the break after the Giro when you felt like you had your best form. But you still came back and won the first race back in the Czech Tour.
Yeah, I mean, that was still a month and a half later, or whatever. But for sure, yeah, that's kind of when I felt like, I mean, then I was still going well, but I felt like my best, I took still quite a bit of time off after the Giro, and I think I would have been my best straight after. But for sure, yeah, I mean, I was still going really well after the Giro. I made a step up.
Okay. When did your season end this year? What was the last race?
China. I did China October 20th, I finished. So
What's China like?
crazy, different world. China was a completely different world, but really cool spot to race and just to see a different. I mean, you don't get. I don't think I would ever go to China for another reason. So I think to be able to go to China was really cool, good experience.
Were you really at the how burned out are guys by that time of the year? Like still race because you start racing so early. If you're still racing in October, is it like
Yeah, I
really
think.
done for the season?
I mean, people are dying for the off season, but I think everyone was still pretty motivated. And guys are still going well. I think in the past, maybe guys weren't going as well. Everybody's still flying in China, so it was actually still a really hard race, and still I was still semi motivated. I wouldn't say I was maybe the most motivated, but I was still pretty good.
Okay. And then how long is
Yeah.
the break that you take after the season?
3 weeks, I would say normally. About give or take 3 weeks of almost completely off, and then maybe the third week you do a little bit and get back into it or whatever. So 4 weeks. It depends for everyone a little bit.
And just no bike for 3 weeks.
Almost, yeah. Pretty much no bike for at least 2 weeks, and then maybe a little bit of mountain bike or whatever the third week, or a ride here or there with friends or some mountain biking, and then get back into it.
Do you spend much time on the mountain bike still?
When I can, yeah, I do love riding the mountain bike, so I still try to ride the mountain bike here and there, and I have one in Girona and one here, and I try to get out on the mountain bike a fair bit.
Okay. Do you do any other cross training? Other like any other sports?
Not a ton, no. Not a lot of other cross training.
You're not
To be honest.
running marathons like everybody else now?
No, no running marathons. No, definitely not for me. No running.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. How about the gym? Do you spend much time in the gym?
Not a ton. I'm not a massive gym guy. I do more at home body weight stuff and whatever. A little bit of gym, but definitely not a lot of gym. More in the off season than not, but I don't do a ton of gym.
Do you have to do core training throughout the year?
throughout the whole year, I do body weight and stretching and activations and all of that stuff, but never a lot throughout.
And how regularly do you do that?
A few times a week, I would say I try to do it a few times a week. I have a little program that I try to do a few times a week normally.
What is it that you normally do?
It's different every time. That's the thing is I don't have a exact set routine, but a little bit of core, a little bit of stretching, and depends on how much time I spend on it or what I end up doing that day. But yeah, a little bit here and there of core, a little bit of stretching, and until you feel it. Do a little core until it feels pretty good, then do a little stretching, a little more core, or planking or sit-ups, just simple stuff.
And it's
Nothing super cycling specific.
just a yoga mat before you go on the bike?
Exactly. Before, after I go on the bike, or in the morning, or evening, or whenever, really.
Okay. How about like training toys and stuff like that? Whether it's like massage guns, Normatex, Compex, like all this kind of stuff. Is there any sort of like training toys that you play around with?
I'm a big Normatec guy. I like wearing the Normatecs just because, yeah, if you sit down and, I don't know, you're writing emails or doing something on your computer for 20 minutes, you just throw on the Normatecs and they don't hurt, they feel good, and it's easy. You don't have to do anything. So I'm a big Normatex guy, but yeah, that's maybe the only one that I really use. That, a foam roller, a trigger point ball. I normally have a foam roller and a trigger point ball with me if I have something that's tight. Do a little bit of extra work, but in the end, when we have massage every day when we're on the road, it's pretty, you don't really need a whole lot.
Well, yeah, for sure. When you have massage, that's the best. But don't you ever find like if you just finished a really hard training day and now rolling around on a foam roller, it's like doing another core workout now. It's like, man, I'm too tired to do this. Like that's the nice thing about the massage
No, it is,
gun.
yeah.
You can just use the
Exactly.
massage gun.
Yeah. It's less of a core workout then for sure.
Yeah. How about like when you guys get all the cool new stuff at the start of the season? You get like suitcases full of 10 bibs and jerseys and summer jersey, winter jersey, fall, like all this kind of stuff. What's the coolest thing you get from the team?
The winter gear. I think with Castelli, the best thing we have is the winter gear. We just have unbelievable winter gear. I think it's just, yeah, our winter gear is really, really, really good. The rain jackets and gabas and big jackets and everything is just so good that it's a big benefit, big benefit that we have on our team compared to even other clothing brands or other stuff. But I would say that's the nice stuff.
It's a really nice benefit comparing when you just have like plastic that's just like not very good clothing and it's freezing cold out and you're supposed to be wearing the team kit and you're like, it's 2 degrees and raining and I'm going to be freezing cold this whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys get, oh, I heard this. I got to ask you this question. I've heard this before. The specialized shoes that you guys get, are they just normal or do you guys get them custom made?
They're normal. Sometimes we have newer ones or a bit different ones, and we're testing different soles or whatever. All of our insoles are custom, especially I do custom insoles for everything. But the shoes are custom, and then they used to have like a team color that had a little bit of black on it and white. There was only a team's thing, but now they have them for everyone, so everyone can get them.
Okay, cool. And then do you guys do bike fitting every season?
Yeah. Bike fitting normally in November camp and December camp.
I don't understand why. Like, does anything actually change?
I think it's just to check up on everything and relook at everything. And if you want to change anything, or if you want to change saddles or try something different, or I haven't changed mine in a long time, but I think it's always good to look and make sure everything is good. I mean, if you don't have any problems, yeah, don't change it. But maybe you say, oh, this could be a little bit better. Do you want to try it? And it's a good time to try it in the winter rather than trying something in June.
Okay. What about crank lengths? This is like the hot button topic right now.
Yeah, I've seen this. I've always ran 170s. I've never switched from 170 since I was a junior, so I just run 170s. But I know a lot of people are talking about crank length and whatever, but I can't really speak on it because I don't really understand the benefits of shorter or longer or one or the other. I just run 170s. I like them and don't fix what's not broken type of a theory. But that's my take on it.
Good answer. Okay. What about?
Yeah,
Oh, here's a good. You did Tour de Abitibi as a junior.
I did.
Do you still sleep on mattresses in the school?
You do. Yeah, you sleep in you have one schoolroom per team, and riders and staff and everyone sleep on a mattress in a room, and yeah, great trip though. Good fun.
This race has never changed. Do they still do
No.
the time trial on the bike path?
Yeah. It's time trial on the bike path around. Yeah, exactly. We did the same one across the old bridge by the water and
Yeah.
the bike path. Yeah, same.
I remember we were reconning this stage for so long, like so you knew every corner perfect because again it's a bike path the whole time, so everyone's just railing the corner is perfect. I think somebody missed the corner at the bridge and went into the river during my year, and I was like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
tough.
That is really tough. That's a tough hit for sure. Go swimming.
Yeah.
Go swimming in your TT.
Okay. What about if, like, when
Trying
you
to
guys
think.
win a big race and stuff like that? Is there like, I can cut this if you don't want to talk about it, but is there any sort of like cool like bonuses, like bonus structures, how it works? Like, because I know, like, just to give you an example, like, I think the best one I've heard is Finn Fisher Black told me it's like when Poggi won his first tour, he bought all the guys on the tour team a yellow Vespa. It's like that's
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, I
cool.
know about that. Yeah, yeah. McNulty has one in Girona.
Yeah.
Summer rides around, and his wife, and she rides it around. But I mean, I think guys do this stuff like that when they win the tour, and guys buy Rolexes for the team or whatever. But personally, with bonuses or anything, I haven't. I don't have any cool stories. I haven't been a part of it. I've heard some cool stuff within the team that guys have done over the past, and bought watches or cars or whatever, but never no crazy stories
Someone bought someone a car.
personally. I think guys have, no more guys have bought cars like just for themselves. Like, oh, if I win this, I'm gonna buy a car. That they've actually gone and done it.
What? That's awesome.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. No, nothing crazy though personally that I've heard of
That's
or that
awesome.
I know that I've experienced.
Okay. What's like the most ridiculous performance you've ever seen in cycling in the last couple of years? Like just impressive. Like I would say like Poggi at Worlds, but
Yeah, Pogi. Yeah, I would say Pogi at Worlds also. Watching that, I wasn't there, but Pogi at Worlds. Pogi. I mean, I think this season. I think just yeah, Pogi this season was just unbelievable.
it's so crazy when you see that. And I just wonder, it's like, has he figured out something in training that the rest of us are going to figure out in like 5 or 10 years, and that's why he's just killing all of us, or is he just outrageously
Yeah, I don't
talented?
know. This is the thing that I think keeps some guys up at night, but I think it's hard to say. I don't think. I mean, I don't think he's doing something that's crazy different than everyone else, but you never know. Maybe. We'll see. I guess
Yeah,
the 5 years time will tell.
yeah, exactly. Okay. What about? I
Yeah.
asked you already what the highest moment of your career is. What about like the lowest moment? Has there been any low moments?
Um, I mean, for sure, I would say I'm knock on wood. I'm lucky enough not to have a lot of super low moments as of yet, but for sure with injuries and stuff, there's low moments or times for sure you just feel like you're never gonna get out of it and you're suffering and you're never gonna get back to form or you're never gonna get back out of it. But nothing, I would say, super crazy that I've had yet.
But has there been any moments like that?
Not anything crazy low. I mean, for sure, yeah, but nothing crazy low. I'd say I'm a pretty even person. I'm pretty good at not going too crazy high on the highs and not too crazy low on the lows. So I'd say I'm pretty even in that sense and pretty good at handling it. But I've had nothing super major.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How about like last kind of cool question? Has there been like a mentor or like coach or someone that's like really helped you a lot in your career?
I
Someone
think
specific?
I've had a lot of people that have uh, helped me, from kind of my first junior teams and through Lux and everyone. I would say actually a guy, Tyler Williams, who I train with almost every single day here in California, has kind of been a pretty big mentor to me and someone that I don't know knows everything because we spend hours and hours riding together and have over time. So I'd say just because when you spend that much time riding together, you talk about everything and knows everything. So I'd say that's someone that's made a big difference for me.
Well, also because he's a few years older than you, and he also went to Europe and did the whole thing. Is there
Yeah,
anything that you
exactly.
picked up
Yeah.
from him, like that you learned from him?
I mean, I think all kinds of stuff, but yeah, I mean, definitely his work ethic and training, and I think without him, I definitely wouldn't be as good as I am now, as far as how hard he trains and training with him, and yeah, I mean, he basically coached me through juniors and with training and life and everything and decisions, and he'd done it, so I think using his experience and yeah, everything was super helpful.
That's awesome. Does he still train that hard? What does he do right
He
now?
still trains, yeah, yeah. He's still racing the crit scene in the U.S., so he's still he has a wife and kids now and a family here, but he still races. He does coaching and racing, so he's coaching quite a bit in the U.S. and then still racing professionally in the U.S. scene and crits and doing all the bigger races in the U.S.
Okay. Yeah. No, good for Tyler because we
Yeah.
raced against each other a little bit when like in North America. But yeah,
Oh,
cool.
awesome. Yeah, really cool.
Oh, actually, you know what? I have a theory. You know how we were talking about like what's the next big thing for like performance? Like it's been nutrition and then it's heat training and then it's more time at altitude and all this kind of stuff. I have a theory on what the next one is. I think what people are going to start using more is like meal delivery services because now you have whatever all these different meal delivery services and people are calorie counting and stuff. I think that's going to be the next one where everybody's going to start doing this. That way you don't have to count your calories anymore. You just have all your food delivered to you. Or am I crazy? What do you think?
I think yes, but also what else do you do as a cyclist? You also have so much time to cook because all you do is train, but you can only train for 5 or 6 hours max. And there's still way more hours in the day. So you have plenty of time to cook your food. I mean, it's a convenience when you come back from training and you're tired, but I do think that you also have plenty of time to cook and weigh out your food. And I think a lot of people do weigh it outside of races, but I think less than maybe everybody thinks. Like I think in races, yes, because the team chefs cook everything and then you can just go by and put on a scale. But I think at home, yes, a lot of people weigh, but maybe not as much as everyone thinks.
Sure, but I mean more like as far as some people are just lazy and don't want to cook a great meal. So instead of just
Yeah,
cooking
yeah, no,
pasta
no,
or
for sure,
rice
it'd be
every
good.
day.
Like if you did it in Girona, if you're gonna start, just start in Girona, and you'll know you'll have a good test, and then you have
Yeah,
plenty of cyclists in one area.
there you go. Yeah. Okay. Cool, man. Or how about do you ever do like double days in
Awesome.
training?
I don't do a lot of double days. No,
No?
never a lot of double days to be honest.
Okay. And then when you do
Yeah,
efforts in training at the start or the end of the ride?
always different. Sometimes right in the start, sometimes the very end, sometimes the middle, sometimes just where it fits in on a climb or on a section of the ride. But switch it up, a little bit of everything.
Okay. Cool.